Investing can be a very overwhelming topic, and when we're thinking about planning, it can add to that overwhelming feeling. But the truth with planning is no one ever knows 100% what will happen. No one knows exactly what their returns will be for the rest of their life, how much they'll actually spend, or even how long they'll live for. Planning effectively is much more about considering the relevant information that you have today and making a best decision that is aligned with those considerations, all while giving yourself flexibility when your plan inevitably changes, either big or small. Often the paths available to us to reach our desired outcome can go in many different directions, each path with its own pros and cons. But this can lead to analysis paralysis, a state of mind where it's simply easier to put off making a decision than going through the thought process of making one. The irony is, by not making a decision at all, we're actually moving further away from our desired outcome. Remember, if time is our best friend, investing requires some urgency. We give ourselves the most runway to have success the earlier we start. So it's important to avoid situations that overwhelm us to the point of indecisiveness. Although our paths to reach our desired outcome can be confusing and numerous, often the path to avoid it is very clear and obvious. To make things feel less overwhelming, sometimes the easiest way to find a best decision isn't to think about what needs to be true in order to arrive at a desired outcome, but to instead think about what needs to be true to avoid your desired outcome. We need to use inversion to think about our problem from a different angle. Let's imagine that you have a goal of becoming a runner. As part of your overall health and fitness regimen, you want to incorporate running regularly to it. You could easily become overwhelmed with what distance to run, when to run, where to run, training plans, and anything else that goes along with it, all of which create resistance, or a hurdle to overcome to become a runner. The resistance might be all that's required to squash your plans. But if we think about the opposite, or the inverse, it's quite simple. If your goal is to become a runner, then the inverse would be to ask yourself, what would have to be true for me not to become a runner? And the simple answer is you just wouldn't run. So as long as you run, in any way, shape, or form, you become a runner and work towards that goal. As simple as I'm attempting to make investing seem in this course, it can still be quite overwhelming. And even though it's something we know we all should be doing, it usually isn't as easy as simply deciding to flip the switch and get going. We'll cover how to practically get started in the final chapter, but as far as planning goes, it's helpful to think about what we need to do in order to build wealth. And from there, we can simplify things by thinking about what would need to be true for us to avoid building wealth. That thinking can take a long, confusing, and even overwhelming list and turn it into something that's short, simple, and easy to implement. We know that investing requires three main things: contributions, a diversified investment portfolio, and time. So anything that limits our contributions, stops us from investing in a diversified way, or reduces our investing time horizon, lowers our chances of becoming successful long-term investors. Here are my 3 favorite ways to avoid building wealth, and if you actually want to build wealth, what to do instead. Spending more than you make. Spending more than you make will forever keep you poor and in a position of not having anything to contribute to your long-term goals. Instead of being able to participate in investing, you'll be sitting on the sidelines without any hope of building wealth. You can't invest money that you don't have. Instead of spending more than you make, stay within your means and spend less than you make. This will allow you to have money to invest and build wealth. Accumulating debt. Accumulating debt goes hand in hand with spending more than you make. So it's a great way to compound in the wrong direction. Instead of earning interest on your money, you'll be paying interest on someone else's money. This keeps you poor while making them rich. For 2024, Visa and MasterCard reported a combined revenue of over $70 billion. Their entire business model hinges on their customers not paying off their debt. That is $7 billion less in their customers' pockets, creating an unbelievable opportunity to avoid building wealth. If you wanted to build wealth instead of avoiding it, you would want to avoid high interest debt and then debt in general, because it not only costs you money, but it restricts your ability to contribute to your investments. Waiting to invest. Waiting to invest removes the ability for our money to compound and grow exponentially. The longer we allow our money to compound, the more we can expect that it'll grow for us. So the opposite is true. The less compounding we expose our money to, the less it can work for us. And if we never let it grow at all, it'll actually lose value due to inflation. So not only are we not building wealth, we're actually negatively building wealth. If you wanted to build wealth positively instead of negatively, you would start investing sooner than later and give your investments as long as possible to work for you. This 3-step system of spending more than you make, accumulating debt, and waiting to invest is a surefire way to avoid building wealth. But the good news is that if you do the opposite, it's a surefire way to build wealth. Spending less than we make, avoiding debt, and investing sooner than later puts our money in the best position possible to grow for us. When we're overwhelmed and unsure of what we should do, inverting the problem can make a best decision clear and obvious. This can help us avoid sitting idle and get moving in the right direction, ultimately bringing us closer to what matters most.